Jake Paul is starting the new year off with a big bang. With a bizarre tweet from his Notes app on Saturday morning, the YouTuber turned boxer again lashed out at UFC boss Dana White on Twitter. If White agrees to Paul's 3 conditions, he says he will immediately retire from boxing and accept a one-bout UFC contract to fight Jorge Masvidal. But could Paul even compete in the UFC? It's an entirely different ball game. Stay tuned. Will Jake Paul fight in the UFC, and is it a good idea? Whatever you think of Jake Paul, he knows how to sell a battle. The 24-year-old YouTuber turned prize fighter has fought for millions of dollars in front of sold-out venues against YouTuber Anderson Gibb, former NBA star Nate Robinson, and ex-UFC fighters Ben Askren and Tyron Woodley, the latter twice, including a KO in Miami last month. Paul has been chastised for his fight selection and has been accused of manipulating fights, but he is undeniably a box office draw. Following his surprise KO of Woodley last month, Paul shifted his attention to the rest of the UFC. On social media, Paul, age 24, and White, age 52, have fought about fighter compensation in the UFC. The YouTuber turned boxer requested a UFC fight against Jorge Masvidal, but with 3 major stipulations. He put another carrot in front of White, this time the prospect of retiring from boxing right away. Nonetheless, the UFC president has yet to answer. However, Bellator CEO Scott Coker is willing to work with Paul. Coker hailed the problem child's knockout victory over Tyron Woodley last month, calling him a true athlete. "We would gladly do it if you wanted to enter into MMA." The 59-year-old told MMA Junkie, "Think about it, he's not saying anything." He continued stating, "He has great striking, obviously. You've seen it, and so this guy is just going to get better and better and better. The days of him fighting basketball players or whatever, those days are over." Clearly, he believes that the problem child could succeed in the UFC world, and he is eager to mentor him and help him get there. Paul has a 5-0 boxing record, which includes wins over MMA stars Ben Askren and Tyron Woodley. He's kept calling out UFC superstars including Conor McGregor and Nate Diaz, and even teased an MMA bout. Will Paul accept Coker's invitation to fight for Bellator and fight under his banner? In addition, Logan Paul, as well as Jake, would be fantastic mixed martial art fighters, according to Scott Coker. They both target exhibition fights involving the YouTube stars, which are sure to draw in a lot of pay-per-view buys. In an exhibition match at Miami's Hard Rock Stadium, Logan Paul went the distance, surviving 8 rounds against unbeaten 5-division world boxing champion Floyd Mayweather Jr. According to USA Today, the fight drew 1 million pay-per-view purchases in the U.S., bringing in $50 million US. The bouts have been dubbed a sideshow by critics due to the duo's lack of sporting credentials as they established their careers as social media personalities with millions of YouTube subscribers. Mr. Coker, on the other hand, said the brothers had remarkable physiques and that MMA was an option for them. Chikadze slams Volkanovski for picking easy fight. Giga Chikadze understands that if he beats Calvin Kattar in the UFC Vegas 46 main event on Saturday night, he'll be able to fight Alexander Volkanovski for the title in March. However, this may not be the case. With Max Holloway out, Volkanovski is looking for a new opponent for his upcoming return at UFC 272, and basically everyone in the 145-pound category has put their hand up for the bout, including former 2-division champion Henry Cejudo. Volkanovski, for one, appears to have already concluded that Chan Sung Jung, aka the Korean Zombie, is the best possible choice. Chikadze, on the other hand, believes the defending featherweight champion is simply selecting the opponents he is best prepared to defeat. Chikadze seems to have been disrespected by the featherweight champion Alexander Volkanovski after a brief interaction on social media. In light of recent events, the former kickboxing champion believes Volkanovski is avoiding a bout with him. Volkanovski responded to the Georgian by reminding him of his Saturday debut in the octagon. Seeing just how hard he has worked to get into contention, Chikadze took offense to the comment that he was fighting for a higher position rather than a title opportunity. He later stated, "I know the chump is trying to have an easy task," Chikadze told MMA Fighting. "Probably the Korean Zombie, no disrespect. In the top 10, everyone's tough, but I believe I already beat one of the strongest guys in the division the last time in Edson Barboza. And now the easiest one in all these guys is the Korean Zombie for me. That's how I see the champ is looking to get this fight, because he wants to go in the easy way." Chikadze can continue to push his case for a championship opportunity with a win over Kattar. The 33-year-old has won all 7 of his UFC fights, collecting Performance of the Night bonuses in the last 3. If a bout with Volkanovski occurs, Chikadze sees himself as the best candidate to dethrone him. Meanwhile, Chikadze takes on Calvin Kattar in the main event of UFC Vegas 46. In regards to the bout between Volkanovski and Chan Sung Jung, and a pair of new headliners set for UFC 273, Alexander Volkanovski, the featherweight champion, will defend his title against the Korean Zombie, while Aljamain Sterling will rematch Peter Yan. Multiple sources familiar with the promotion's plans confirm the news to MMA Fighting. The card will take place on April 9th, with the exact location yet to be revealed. Ariel Helwani was the first to reveal that the matchup was in the works. Max Holloway was forced out of the Plain Trilogy bout with Volkanovski Volkanovski due to an unexplained ailment, so Jung fills in. Volkanovski has an impressive track record, having won 20 consecutive fights, including a 10-0 start in the UFC. After victories against Holloway and Brian Ortega, the #1 ranked featherweight in MMA Fighting's global rankings will defend his championship for a third fight. The UFC 273 show also features a long-awaited rematch between Sterling and Jan, who were supposed to fight in March at UFC 272. The ongoing issue surrounding UFC pay for the fighters. The debate over whether or not UFC fighters are underpaid continues, but organization head Dana White claims that his athletes are fairly compensated. When asked if UFC fighters will one day earn more money than boxers, White stated that the organization's top stars already earn more than those fighting in boxing championship bouts. There have been plenty of fighters and other influential people speaking up about the issue, including YouTuber turned boxer Jake Paul and former UFC fighter Mark Hunt. Mark Hunt, a former UFC fighter, has slammed the UFC over fighter pay as his legal battle with the organization continues. Mark Hunt's UFC career came to a halt in 2016 when he was defeated by Brock Lesnar at UFC 200. The victory wasn't contentious in and of itself, but it was later altered to a no contest after Lesnar tested positive in a post-fight drug test. The former UFC fighter stated, "If you're the world champion of boxing, there's reality. You have made it to the top. You don't have to worry about money. Don't worry about nothing. There's the goal to reach, Mount Everest. But in the UFC, you make it to the top, what do you get? Look at the champions. Don't look at what I'm saying, look at the champions in the sport. What have they got? They're sitting there complaining about money. You're the world champion of nothing." Despite the fact that the UFC has grown in prominence over the years, competitors continue to indicate a rising interest in boxing since it has been proven big-name boxers are receiving insane amounts of money, enough to retire within just a few bouts. It's no wonder why they are trying to make the switch. Kamaru Usman, the welterweight champion, has been criticizing Canelo Alvarez, while heavyweight champion Francis Ngannou has mentioned Tyson Fury several times. Then there are the UFC fighters who want to get their hands on YouTube sensation turned pro boxer Jake Paul, who has been an outspoken supporter of UFC fighter pay. However, UFC president Dana White certainly does not agree. Most UFC fighters make more than boxers, especially at a lower level. Then the guys you know, the Khabibs, the Connors, the Rondas, even the John Joneses, these guys make more than most of these boxers that are fighting for big title fights. Don't believe the bull. Don't believe all the stuff you hear. These guys make a lot of money, states the UFC president, and has continued to proclaim throughout the controversial topic of UFC pay. Only time will tell if the pay increases or if things will change. Watch this space. And there you have it. Everything you need to know about Jake Paul and if he would ever fight in the UFC and whether or not this would even be a good idea. Additionally, we also touch on the tension between Giga Chikadze and Alexander Volkanovski and how Chikadze's claiming Volkanovski is taking fights that are easy and are aimed to make him look good, and the ongoing debate surrounding UFC pay for fighters. Make sure to let us know your thoughts down below on all the topics we spoke about today. And if you enjoyed today's video, don't forget to like and subscribe so you never miss any of our new and upcoming content. Thanks for watching!